Hello, my name is James Catterdahl, and I've decided to compare the real-time events of World War II to the movies Greyhound and Catch-22. Many movies made in Hollywood in the past and present are misconstrued to add action or thrill to the big screens. Ratings and explosions have taken precedent over most part to excite audiences around the world. The two movies I've chosen are very different in nature, but are sure to understand the lives of soldiers during the Good War. First, a satire film that follows the daily life of fighter pilots situated in Italy who endure dogfights and supply run missions that exceed their assignments. It's based on a novel by Joseph Heller, who was a pilot during World War II. Although it focused on dark humor and inaccurate events, it delves into the mental issues surrounding fighter pilots during the war. The second film I will be examining is an action and drama, based on arguably the most important battle during the war, the Battle for the Atlantic. The movie follows a fictional captain portrayed by Tom Hanks that is challenged by Nazi U-boats on his first mission as a captain to lead a fleet of supply ships to Britain. The viewing delves into naval warfare and tough decisions that follow Tom Hanks' character, Ernest Krause. The most impressive part of this display of technology and communication used throughout the battles. Both displays are fictional in actuality, but accurately depict the mental and physical struggle of pilots and sailors during World War II. My first movie, Catch-22, offers an in-depth look to the protagonist named Yossarian, who is actively trying to evade the war throughout the movie. His squadron mission count is continuously increased, even after completing their term due to their success. Many scenes show Yossarian, played by Alan Arkin, dealing with trauma such as the death of a friend or a new recruit slowly dying in his hands. Most importantly, the movie focuses on the insanity of war and the idea of the Catch-22. The theme of a fighter pilot's life through the movie being that if you believe you're going crazy, you're actually normal, because they're always facing death. The squadron is sent on 80 missions, and Yossarian's mental ability dwindles after being so close to death on most of the missions he completes. A real-life account of Lieutenant Speer being shot down by German gunners after completing a mission accurately displays the fear of being a pilot in World War II with this phrase. My Mustang shuddered from the hits by the enemy gunners. I knew I wouldn't make it back to England. My engine was dying, and my airspeed was so low. I couldn't get high enough to bail out. Managed to crash land in it. I felt fear. There was a mob coming out of the village towards me, carrying clubs and pitchforks. On the other side of the airfield was the German soldiers. Crash landing in enemy territory almost always meant certain death, or military camps where the mortality rate was high. He eventually went westward and found French soldiers who saved his life. A member of Yossarian's squadron named Orr used this to his advantage in the movie and practiced crash landing to evade the war when no one else could get out of it. This plays into the insanity of the war and lacks romanticism and jingoism. Herbert Hoover's quote encapsulates this. Older men declare war, but it is the youth that must fight and die. A chilling scene follows this quote when the youngest member of the squadron is shot by a gunner while he's manning the guns. He slowly dies in Yossarian's arms. After the scene, he gives up on flying missions and is let out. The irony is he's immediately killed as he leaves the base by a German assassin. He lived through dogfights, gunners, and shrapnel, and still didn't make it through the war. I believe this final scene to be a symbol for the PTSD that fighter pilots and soldiers in general have to withstand far after they endure the constant level of stress and trauma during their missions. A government study on PTSD shows that 37% of living World War II veterans have PTSD from the war, especially those in close combat. Catch-22 offers an informed point of view on how pilots may think and feel while fighting in the war they personally do not want to be a part of. Constant death and stress takes a toll on a person, especially if they are surrounded by it every day. My next movie, Greyhound, masterfully captures maritime warfare from the point of view of a battleship captain. The movie refrains from depicting a solely rah-rah action film, but accurately portrays the inner workings of a battleship during the Battle of the Atlantic, along with the traditions that followed the Navy during this time of war. In one scene, they throw 3 dead bodies off of the battleship to show burial at sea, which occurred frequently during the Battle of the Atlantic. Captain Krause, played by Tom Hanks, leads a convoy of supplies across the Atlantic while German U-boats coined as wolf packs hunt them. He is aided by 3 other ships who are helping to protect the supply ships en route to Great Britain. At first contact with a single U-boat, they use radar to find the enemy. The use of radar is in turn a large portion of the movie, in order to show the new technology that was used to hunt U-boats during World War II. Furthermore, noise sonar radars were also introduced in August of 1940. When the U-boats would go underwater, they would use this. They also used code throughout every scene in the movie, which conveys that they were actively hiding messages from the enemy, which many wartime movies fail to do. A quote from the IMW illustrates the antagonisms of the movie perfectly. At first, many merchant ships were lost. The fall of France in June 1940 gave the U-boats bases on the Atlantic coast, and U-boat production increased during spring of 1941, giving Germans enough submarines to deploy groups or wolf packs. The Greyhound, the main battleship, is constantly fighting off Nazi wolf packs, which continually pick off cargo ships. The U-boats were immensely popular across the Atlantic. This is in large part due to the impending pressure to get war supplies to Great Britain, so that they may hold the Western war front. The Battle of the Atlantic was crucial to the Allies' victory over the Axis powers. The Greyhound flawlessly summarized the events that occurred from 1939 to 1943. Thank you.